So we're looking at Monday, May 6th, getting into my advanced class with Princess Bride and things to cover with you. Book drive is almost done. Kids come in to pick things up. Day of service goes to Thursday if you want to donate things for B points. The actual day of service is this coming Friday. For us reading-wise, we're into Chapter 5 starting today. There'll be sections I'm going to read with you, but I'm not sitting and reading Chapter 5 with you. We're going to read part of part, so you get to page 142. We'll do that on Wednesday, and then page 172 coming up on Thursday. And then my ties are done for the year. This week and next week, I have Princess Bride shirts I wear each day, except for Friday of this week. I can't wear one on that day because I wear my day of service shirt. But the next week will all be good too from there. And then the last week of school, I have other things we're going to do. And then the homework will come due Thursday. There is a take-home quiz, so if you are here today, you have a quiz that you're taking home. If not, then we'll see what we can do for you. And then Mrs. Brown, you looking for someone or? Me. What's up? Yeah, I know, she's in there, and I'll come talk to her after class.
Okay.
I'm aware.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then from there, we sold the giant pixie sticks, but if you're at home, you can't buy one because you're not here, so go you. And then getting into Princess Bride. Couple things for you. My goal, as I've taught you guys this year, was to earn trust so that you guys will put trust into me with everything I do. Which is why I end the year doing the 3 things that I sort of enjoyed, well, technically 4 if you count Greek mythology, as I really do enjoy that. And then the next favorite thing I have is the gospel, because I enjoy conversations we got to have during the gospel and reading the sermons and watching you guys rant and sort of interact with each other and stuff like that. And then Princess Bride, although yes, I understand it is a long book. Absolutely it is, but it is also probably one of the better books that we'll get a chance to do. I liked Outsiders, but this leads to some of the big conversations we get to have in some of my favorite days. I really liked last Friday and reading that scene with you guys, and there's a couple other scenes coming up, and there's a thing that's going to happen next week that connect to it. And so part of it is this year was building it up to when I say, I want you to read Princess Bride, is just my request to you. Can you finish out this year not reading the book? Absolutely. If you hate the book, don't read it. You're probably not going to do real well on the test, but you'll survive. The idea of this book is this shaped my teaching because the attitude that Morgenstern has in the book shaped William Goldman. And then William Goldman, after I read it, it sort of, if you read the book and then pay attention to how I teach, you will definitely see connections between the two. And so it's one of those things where this sort of helps shape who I am, which then leads into the last week of school. And the last week of school is me telling you stories that shaped who I am, both good and bad. And so it all sort of leads up to these final days of wisdom that I get to pass along to you. But along those lines, if this book is too much for you, or I've not earned your trust up to this point, then pay attention in class and wing it. For those of you who do enjoy it, then for many of you who enjoy reading, or at least don't hate reading, the main issue with Princess Bride is you'll finish it this week, and it'll become a what do we do next week? Because once you get into the book, it goes really quickly. I highly recommend watching the movie. It's a really good movie. It does follow the book. It's just the book goes into a lot more detail. It's sort of like the book is the director's cut of everything that happened in the book, or in the movie. Speaking of, and by the way, once again, for those of you who are wondering, because I forgot to show it to you guys last week, where Gilder and Florin were, that's roughly where they were. It's just they're not really around anymore. So, if you have seen the movie, there are a handful of things that are similar between movie and book. So you're going to know a handful of things that happen. Do not ruin things for other kids if you know those things. Kids who are reading the book for the first time and have never experienced the movie, there are really big things that happen. If you've seen the movie, there are really big changes that happen. The Zoo of Death was not even in the movie. It's huge in the book. And so that's a big change between the two of them right there, just Zoo of Death wise. Be careful. Globetrotters are also reading this book at the same time. If you're friends with Globetrotters, everyone knows Globetrotters have no morals. So if you talk to them, they will happily ruin parts of the book for you.
Yes,
and they are slightly ahead of us. So we're going to eventually balance out because I have full faith in your ability to get to the point where they are, but they're slightly ahead of us right now because Sturgeon had to be gone for the whole We the People thing, so he had to get them to a part where they could read on their own. So be careful. If you speak with them, they might give away certain scenes. Cabin.
What if we finish the entire book before this week ends? Could we attack them with some?
If your question is, can I also be a horrible human being? Yes, but then when I find out, I get to also be a horrible human being to you. So my goal is for you to rise above the level of Globetrotter. Speaking of Globetrotters, Jaden?
Is there an ebook version of this?
Absolutely. Because I had kids who left their books at home, so it should be on the website. Yeah. Let's see. Zoo of Death and the Prince. Zoo of Death plays a huge role. We'll find out moving forward. Was not really in the movie whatsoever. You've now met Prince Humperdinck, not just the Count, but the Prince, who is a barrel of a man. So basically, he looks like a gorilla. He's just really big and strong. And we meet him as he breaks an orangutan's neck. Because he has his. And why does he have the Zoo of Death? Because the whole hunting, and he doesn't have time to travel, so he has that, so he can kill animals nice and close, and he has the different levels of the Zoo of Death, as we'll get into it from there. And we also got to the huge chunk that got cut out in chapter 2, where you find out why we're now reading this version as opposed to the original Morgenstern, because it cut out huge, big, amazing chunks of the whole thing.
Because it's complete.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I'm not going to disagree with that one. I think that's why why Goldman got so famous for The Princess Bride, even though he's not the original author, is because his version made it popular. Because basically he went in there and said, here's this really long, boring text. I cut it down to this really small, much better version, and that's the part that everyone knows. And then, of course, it became a movie back in the 80s, and it became humongous, and people loved it and stuff like that, and sort of went on from there. But it was one of those things where if his father hadn't have happened to have been from Florin, then you never would have had this whole steamroll things that connected. The courtship of Princess Norina. We have that whole big scene with her and her issues. And of course now the prince can't be with her. So who's the prince going to be with instead? Buttercup. And how do Buttercup and the prince feel about each other?
No, they don't hate each other. They just don't care.
She hates him.
No, she just never sees him. She doesn't love him.
Maul.
Like, the prince likes her, but she's like, I need to find like my true love in boy. So she's like, I ain't gonna love you.
Well, she's not going to find her true love because she's found her true love already. And that was, there you go. So she's like, I can't love you because I've already found love and my love is dead. She's like, as long as you don't require me to love you. And he's like, I don't care about love. And she's like, oh, well then high five. We're good to go. Although we are going to find out in chapter 5, there's another reason for their marriage, but that's coming up later. So that's one of those spoilers. We're not going to get to it. But there's a reason why he doesn't care about love not being part of his marriage. Not just because he's a guy. Chapter 4, everyone's favorite chapter. And why is chapter 4 everyone's favorite chapter? It can be summed up in just a few words.
One thing to another.
No, what is another?
There you go. One thing and another, 3 years go by. And that was like cut out like 150 pages or something like that. And he was like, essentially we can sum it up as 3 years go by. And so now we have 3 years have moved forward and we jump and now we get to chapter 5, which connects to the shirt that I'm wearing today. So my goal is as we move forward, my shirts will connect to sort of the scenes that we're getting to. Although there is one iconic scene coming up that I have like 4 shirts that connect to, but we'll get to that too. Liru, you gave me eyes. What's up?
So on the thing where like he wrote his own dialogue on that thing, do you want us to read that?
Yes. Oh, you're talking about the reunion scene?
Yeah, the reunion.
When we get there, I have the reunion scene.
Okay,
and
so I wasn't sure if I was supposed to read it or not, so I didn't read it just in case, like, yeah.
Oh, on my website?
I was talking
In
about
there?
the book. Yeah.
In the
'cause
book?
It said, like,
Yes.
Okay.
In the book, read everything in the book.
Okay,
So
but like it said to go to another place. So like
you
I
can
wasn't
if you
sure.
want to, because I have that on my website. And so yeah, there's a reunion scene which we'll get to, which is a part of the book that gets cut out and is not in there, which if you're not that point yet is confusing. But when you get to it, it'll just say this part's not in the book. You have to send in to get it. I've already sent in to get it. And so it's on my website, and I'll read it out loud to you if you guys want it. And so it's another scene that goes into it and stuff like that. But it's not in the movie, and spoilers, don't tell people what's in the reunion scene once you've read it. So once you've got to that part, you get to hold on to this little bit of knowledge and not ruin it for other people. Drake.
The guy in your shirt looks like Shrek with long hair. Like the middle dude.
This one?
Yeah.
I can see that.
That's it.
Yeah, and so yeah, for those of you at home,
Pheasant Shrek.
there you go. That's the shirt I'm wearing. And so in chapter 5 with Princess Buttercup, because now she's no longer just Buttercup, now she's Princess Buttercup. You're going to get to meet these 3 characters pretty early on, and so they become major part throughout chapter 5. The problem with chapter 5, unlike with chapter 4, is if you flip pages to get to the end of chapter 5,
Extremely long.
it's like the whole book. Because then we have 6, 7, and 8, and 6, 7, and 8 are also fairly short, which is why this whole week is pretty much all chapter 5. So we're not going to worry about finishing chapter 5 until we get to next week. And so, but there's a whole bunch that happens. It's like all the action scenes that sort of happen in the book. Questions from you guys aside from my babbly bits. Then, tomorrow, you guys have NWEA. Bring your book with you because you're going to have the math NWEA and you're in there for like 2.5 hours. My guess is you're probably going to have free time after NWEA. So have your book with you so that you can read on that day. And then same thing again on Wednesday. You're going to have the NWEA English. Bring your stuff with you to first period because you'll be in first period for NWEA. You're not going back to your iStep rooms. Not iStep, iLearn rooms. Sorry. You'll never go, well, I mean, not never, but you're not going to go back to that iLearn room with those kids. We're done with that. NWEA this week is you go to first period, you have a half-hour first period, and then you stay there, and you're going to have your NWEA. I'm not sure if you get a chance to go to your locker or not. I don't think you do. I think you just get stuck in there for like 12 hours with that one teacher. So enjoy, but bring your book with you. I will do my best to try and send a remind in the morning to say, hey, advanced kids, make sure you bring your book with you so that you have a chance to read it afterwards. And then Wednesday, there's page 142. If you get past page 142, that's fine. There's just, I want to read that part with you. Just like on Thursday, if you get past page 172, that's fine. Those are just scenes that I really enjoy. There's a scene with Inigo on page 142, and then a scene with Vizzini on page 172. And then we're going to, next week, you'll be way past the reunion scene, but that'll be Monday and stuff like that we'll get to. I think that's it from there. Like I said, I'm not planning on reading with you guys from here from chapter 5, because I'm assuming you guys are probably in all random different spots and things like that. So I'm going to instead...
Randomness and stuff.
randomness and stuff. Those of you at home, that's all we have from there. We have the Quizzy. Let's go with... No, we'll leave it running for just a moment. Let's do this. Has it been a while since did I ever play the Mr. Broviac game with you guys?
Nope.
Then we only have a moment to play. But the Mr. Broviac game was one I did with my other class when we had apparently more time, was where I give you a chance to ask me any question you want, where I do not lie to you. Because apparently normally I'm known for being creative in my answers. But the Mr. Broviac game is one where I will not lie whenever you ask the question.
Just bend the truth.
Griff.
Who's your favorite class period?
Oh, that's easy. Second. Yes, Nate.
Oh. What kind of food do you like best? Mexican, fast, or Chinese?
Chinese. Interesting question. Although Mexican is a close second, and all the other food is a close third. Ramos.
On the last day of school, do you do any classwork at all?
It depends on the teacher. In my class, I tell you guys a story.
Yeah.
Hey, and now we're done. Mr. Broviac game is over.